Good evening, everybody. Back again. This time with the beautiful Melanie Adams from Groove with Melanie. How you doing tonight, Melanie?
Great, thank you. Yes, very excited to be here. Thank you,
Good, good,
Christina, for
good.
inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as a fellow dance lover, and Mel, we kind of met online as well, as lots of people do nowadays. And then we met in person a couple of weekends ago at Beamish, and we were both doing a lot of dancing that day. And so obviously that's when I mentioned about doing this week for Mental Health Awareness Week. So for anyone watching, who's maybe not caught all of the other chats that I've done this week. I've been having amazing conversation with so many different movement practitioners, linking the importance of movement with our mental health, because it is all about mind-body connection. And so tonight we're going to be talking with Melanie about groove, which is a particular kind of genre and style and amalgamation of dance. So I will throw it over to you, Melanie. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what it is you do?
Sure, yes, be happy to. So I teach a groove class. It's something that came into my life a couple of years ago. I was introduced to it, and last year I became a groove facilitator, and I've just recently got through to my advanced groove facilitation qualifications. So I teach a weekly class in North Shields at the Linskill Centre, but I also do outdoor grooves on the beach, silent disco style, and do a number of other things, private groove events, and been invited to do festivals and so on. So it's a beautiful dance class, very different from anything else. It's fun, it's simple, it brings people together, and it's pretty magical.
Yeah, you were saying earlier when we were talking at the top of this, because we both, as we've said, have a love of movement and dance and self-expression. For people who maybe aren't very knowledgeable maybe on groove, you were talking about all of the different genres of music, weren't you, that kind of go into it? Would you?
Yeah, so it's just really simple to describe groove. It's all styles of music we dance to, and we dance groove dance floor style. So there's no dance standing in rows. We don't go left, right, front, back. There's no directional cues. It's not complicated choreography at all. I'm not standing up front teaching a routine to anybody. We dance floor style, so as if we're at a party. There's all styles of music. So it's everything from reggae, rock, funk, house, beautiful meditative flows, and it's rave. We do all sorts. So it's a total body workout. So physically, it's really good for you. We're moving the body all different ways. But it's so much more than a dance class, groove, because it blends freestyle dancing with choreographed dancing. And so how it works is I teach very, very simple movements or rhythm patterns for each song, and we unite in those together. And that brings people together and connects people because we're dancing with each other. But then I encourage people to dance it their way, their style, with their own authenticity. So it really, it's quite different because people are not used to being creative and expressive in dance.
Yeah.
And a lot of dance modalities are very structured in terms of technique, and it's not that at all. So what I hope to do with my groove class is bring people to dance who perhaps have a fear of dancing in a group or in public, and feel that they need some alcohol to do so, or they just would never set foot on a dance floor. And it allows people to feel free to express themselves through movement. And it's a lot of fun. It's just it's pretty magical. So I've seen some beautiful transformations on the groove dance floor. People who over the course of several classes feel that they can express themselves more and just have more fun in their body and enjoy themselves and enjoy other people. So as an advanced facilitator, I'm able to provides just spark some creativity with people, just to help them with their imagination and just to dance freely however they'd like. You can't get it wrong.
No.
There's no steps to get wrong, because we all dance differently, and we should all dance differently because our bodies are different.
Mm-hmm.
So that is encouraged, that
Mm.
we need to dance our own unique way. So
Mm-hmm.
people feel free to, because they can't get it wrong, because that's the fear. People say, oh, I'm not going to a dance class, I'll get it wrong, I'll look stupid, what will people think? And none of that is true in Groove. Everyone's welcome. It's for all ages, all genders. So everyone's welcome, and everyone can go at their own level. And I have ages from 20s to 80 coming into in the same class,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really loads of fun. So we have fun, we laugh, we cry, we express. There's a lot happening in the class, and if people just I say to people, just come and come for whatever you want to come for. If you want to just have a workout, great. If you just want to meet people, fantastic. And if you want to go a little bit deeper in terms of expressing yourself, even better. And
Mm-hmm.
I've found some people, the feedback I've received is people feel that when they've allowed themselves to express themselves authentically, that's carried over into other areas of their life too. So they've felt that they can be true to themselves, speak their truth, and be more confident in general. And it does lift confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
No,
it's
I
really
love that. I love that, Mel, because I know, well, in conversations we've had as well, and certainly from my perspective, when I think about, as a coach, I talk a lot about fixed mindset and open mindset. And, you kind of think about our words are the language of our mind, but movement is the language of our body. And I think a lot of the time, if we're constricted in our body, then we can be constricted in our thinking. And it's that interplay that I think is just magical, because it is those component parts of actually, I talk a lot about the fact that we are energetic beings. We're made up of trillions of tiny cells, all vibrating at different frequencies. And so what I love about what you describe is, and we know, right, different music makes you feel emotionally and sensually different ways, like hardcore dance versus reggae versus classical versus, I mean, it's just every emotion in there, isn't it? I can
It is,
imagine.
yes. And that's why throughout my class, my groovers will hear me say, connect with the song, connect with the music. It might not be songs or a genre of music that you may have on your own playlist, but if you can tune into the emotion, the lyrics, perhaps, the beat, if there's a tribal feel to it, or if there's just a full-on rock rave song that you can just physically let go and just let it all out on the dance floor, or if you can go inward and internally and just and really, it's a very meditative practice too, with some of the songs we do. But our relationship with our bodies is so connected with our emotions and how we carry ourselves through life, not just physically, but how we communicate and interact with others. And it's just all connected. So you know, we're born to dance, and children have no fear whatsoever
I
when it
was
comes
just
to
going to
dance.
say that, I mean, that
And
that is something when you talk about when we're embarrassed, as adults. Yeah, when you see kids dancing, they like intuitively know how to move, and they just don't care. There's no embarrassment at all.
absolutely. And as we
Mm,
get older, and we just have this fear comes in terms of what people are thinking about us.
mhm,
And so groove, I give people permission to try and let shed that. And it can be instant with people and go, wow, this is what I've needed my whole life. For me, it was just that epiphany. I'm born to groove. I honestly feel that. I worked in the fitness industry for 35 years, and I work in a fantastic community centre called the Linskill Centre in North Shields. I'm the operations and marketing manager, so I've got a busy full-time job. So this is something I do outside of my full-time
nice.
job.
Mhm,
But for many years, I worked in the fitness industry, managing gyms and leisure centres overseas and in the UK. And I've seen firsthand how people, they'll go into the gym environment, and it's an intimidating environment for many people. And they're possibly not enjoying it, and sort of beasting themselves to become what they feel they need to become, whether it's physically
mhm.
or the perfect body and all of that. And I'm just so beyond all of that. I've been there, done that. There's definitely a place for that environment. I'm not saying there isn't, but um, for people to feel that they need to get into some sort of activity but don't quite know where to start, it's I mean, I would say everyone needs to groove. I would say
I
it
agree.
would just, yeah, I agree. But uh, just find something that's joyful for you. You know, I do other activities too. I climb mountains too, and I paddleboard, and I keep myself as active as possible. But I've found activities in very recent years actually that bring me joy. That's the key thing for me. Whereas previously I was doing circuit training and boot camps and,
Mm,
all of that stuff because that was the environment I worked in.
yeah,
And those things work,
of course.
but I think generally speaking, if people are a bit nervous or don't know where to start with movement, try something. Whether it's on your own or with others, I think others you can feel supported, and
True.
it's good to have that social connection. But sometimes some activities you may want to do alone because you just want
Mhm,
some me time, and that's
mhm,
great. I get
mhm.
that totally. But find some joy in movement somehow, and that could be different for everybody. Um,
Yeah, no, I think that's really spot on advice, because I know someone else who I was speaking to yesterday, Kim from Body Image Fitness. So she is a plus size fitness instructor, and she started her app off because she saw that actually, it's this whole diet culture. You've got to look a certain way. You've got to, it's very off-putting for a lot of
mhm.
people who are
Yeah,
maybe larger figures, different shapes and sizes, and I think to your point, when you're going into gyms or you're going into new places, we can feel really self-conscious, can't we? It's a natural thing. And I think that's where we think our mental health, that everyone's looking at me, everyone's judging. And it's like, well, they're not. Because
but no,
I always tend to
no.
think if people had like cartoon speech bubbles above their heads, they would all be like, thinking somebody's looking at me. But nobody is. They're all
No,
thinking
they're
that,
all
but
thinking
nobody
the
is.
same thing, worried
Yeah.
about what other people are thinking about themselves. Yeah. So it's really, it upsets me when people have that, that fear. And it's a beautiful thing for me to experience, to see others shed that fear.
Yeah.
And I've, it's we've only got ourselves to, this we can only rely on ourselves 100% in this life. And we've got to look after ourselves and love ourselves. And as cheesy and as woo-woo as that may be, and
No, I
it's
agree.
not. It's really, really important because nobody else is going to do it. You got to do
No.
it yourself. And
Yeah.
um, so, yeah,
No, I often say as well that if I could write one prescription, I could only write one prescription for people, it would be to be kinder and more self-compassionate towards yourself, because
mhm,
we all suck at it. I mean, I suck at it, and I'm saying that, but every so often you've got to catch yourself. And I think around the fitness piece and your mental health, what I love about dancing is that it is that free form. And yes, okay, so you can go to places where it is more structured. Certainly when I go salsa dancing, it's more structured, but there's an element of very much flow as well. And
yeah,
I think what I love about what you're sharing, Mel, is that it is about, well, just go along and try it. And actually a lot of this is interoception, isn't it? Which is the connection with your body. How does your body feel if you just
yes,
let it go, if you just let it
exactly.
move naturally, make shapes, and be
Yes,
in that
it's making
situation.
shapes.
Yeah,
And this is the terminology I use in my class. It's just
right.
we're making shapes, and we're connecting with the music, and move how the music inspires you.
Yeah.
And so I'll give those suggestions, but in any given, if you look at my groove class, and I have the most beautiful people come to my class, and if you're watching, anybody, hi. um, just to stand back and watch. We're all connected with a rhythm, and it's so simple. It could be a step,
Mm,
touch,
mm,
or it could be 1, 2, 3,
mm,
1, 2, 3.
mm,
And a 1, 2, 3 can be in reggae, it can be house, it can be, there's a number of genres have that 1, 2, 3, a cha-cha-cha,
mm,
whatever. So the 1, 2, 3 is used, and that can be in any part of the body. It could be a
mm,
1, 2, 3 or a
mm,
1, 2, 3. And that's honestly as complicated as it gets.
mm,
If you stand back and watch, you'll see everybody in the room or on the beach going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but they're doing it their own way. So their arms are in different places and their heads are in different places. And it's amazing to see.
Yeah.
It's so, and that energy that we create, the
Mm.
vibrational energy is really special, especially when we do some of the slower stuff. It's really healing. It's very emotive. They really do let go.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, it doesn't need to be about that. If you just want to have some joy in your body and have some fun, come out and have a boogie with some friends and have a good time. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's not that serious, honestly.
No, exactly. But I think it's like anything, isn't it? It's what are you seeking? And I think what I love
Mm,
is that people might come just to kind of go, oh, I'm going to try something different, and then maybe have quite a nice surprise just to kind of go, oh wow, actually I do feel freer. I feel different. I a few years ago read about, and you've probably heard of this as well, like 5 rhythms,
oh
which is
yes,
very
very, yeah,
much, yeah. So it's
very.
taking you on
It's
a
very familiar.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just think, and I know some of the things that the modalities that I've done before in groups as part of my breathwork facilitator training, it is about that connection with yourself, with your body, with your mind, but then also the connection with others. And there is something magical that happens, but I think it gets trained out of us. Like we've mentioned, when we're little, it's the most natural thing in the world. And then it almost like we get contained, and then we've got to adult and stand and don't look
Mhm.
stupid and,
Mm,
don't make noises. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the more years for me that pass, the more expressive that I'm getting, the
yeah.
less I give a flying
Oh
monkey
yeah.
what
It's
people
beautiful.
think. Like, I
It's a
just don't
beautiful
care.
thing to feel that you just, and that's been quite a recent thing for me as well. Maybe
Mm.
5 years. I started, feeling I needed a bit of work-life balance. I started doing some artwork. It changed my life, and it's taken me
Mm.
on this path of being more mindful and conscious about myself and speaking my truth and being my true self. So my hair went pink. I was wearing different
Nice.
clothes. just
Yeah.
being just being me, and groove is just magically came into my life. It's not my creation, by the way. It's part of the world groove movement.
Mhm.
And it was started by a woman called Misty Tripoli, who's fantastic. I've met her. She's American. She's coming over to the UK again
Nice.
in June. She's going to be in
Mhm.
Brighton, grooving people,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's in 40 countries. There's many facilitators. We're hoping to get more facilitators, really, because the only way to get the word out about anything is there's more of us doing it.
Mhm.
And so, if anyone wants to be a groove facilitator,
Ah,
get in touch with me, and I can put you in the right direction, because
yeah.
it's a beautiful thing to facilitate. It brings me a lot of joy, and yeah, I'd highly recommend it.
Well, I love it as well from the standpoint of, I think often we can think of exercise as like it's a chore or it's a have to,
Mm,
whereas this is a joy thing. It's actually, it doesn't even feel like exercise because you're just playing with the music. You're just kind of going along with it, aren't you? It's
absolutely. Yes.
depending on what you're after. Or if you want
Yeah.
to go for it, you can go for it equally, but you've got
Yes.
that range, that choice. Something else we were talking about there earlier on, which is kind of beautiful when we think about dance, is the flow state.
Mm,
And it's funny because I think I'm always surprised when I do talks and do workshops, and I talk about this kind of thing of, you know, having people ask the question, what are you doing when you just feel like time just collapses and you just evaporates? And yet a few people say, oh, I play golf, or I'll do art, or, it's usually something creative or something that's movement in the body. What's been that experience for you and for the people that you've seen how can you tell they're in flow state?
oh gosh, yes, I see that in their bodies, just how they're just because we do internal songs, meditative songs. We do very connector songs, that are very external with others. But especially when we're in those internal songs and those beautiful flowing songs, people are just, you can see their bodies have softened, and it's just, I think, groove unlocks something in people, and I've experienced that, where peeling back those layers of fear. And I think it's tough because, as adults, we don't want to expose our weaknesses or vulnerabilities. We don't want to show how we're struggling. But if I see that softening and just people going for it. And at the end of class, I'll say, right, everybody, because we always finish with stillness and relaxation.
Nice.
There's a real format to the class, even though it feels very natural and it's very different. I do a different playlist every week, so it's always fresh and different. But at the end, we finish with stillness and just breathing and just to calm the body down, because we can't just be go, 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 go. And I don't start people off like that as well.
No, it's like a ride. It builds up.
We do
you land people back down.
Definitely, and bring them down. So at the end, when I bring them down, they go, it's over. Wait a minute. It feels like we just started, So that's when I know, they've been in flow state, that they've been going along with it.
I love that, because I think they say a lot of the time as well, neurologically, our brains actually do very well if they go into idle mode. Because if you think about how much people are always thinking, and generally speaking, the majority of us work facing a screen, emails, messages, doing very critical thinking type work.
Yeah.
And our brains aren't designed to do that, the amount that we're doing them. So actually, that old adage of a change is as good as a rest, actually moving totally into your body, it tends to help you get out of here, get out of the judging, problem solving mode, and just totally drop into your body, so you can feel the movement and feel a certain thing. And that we need that for our own healing and regeneration, don't we?
Well, we can't go on the way we're going with, and what you just described. There has to be that balance there. And I've ever the people that come to my class come from all walks of life, and a lot of them work hard and have busy lives, and I think they do come to Groove to bring some joy and do something that's just a let go. It's a great workout, but it's also, they don't have to think too much, because there's no dance steps to learn. They're not stressed out about, oh, I'm going the wrong direction, or oh, I'm doing it wrong. There's none of that. It's just dancing authentically, and it's really fun.
I love it. And there's something else I wanted to pick up on that you described. I think many people are terrified at showing a weakness or a vulnerability. And I think a lot of us have got our emotions on lockdown, because I think a lot of people are carrying, and I use those words particularly, carrying a lot of weighted emotion, and it keeps it locked in the body.
Yeah.
And what I've witnessed, and what I certainly am a huge advocate for, hence why I love to dance, is actually, if it takes great courage to be vulnerable. And I think when I've seen vulnerability, on the other side of vulnerability is connection, like really deep connection. And when you do it in dance, you kind of, in you being vulnerable, you're giving other people permission to let go too. So it's almost this like domino effect in a way, like, isn't it? Like how it radiates from people.
Yes, and people who've been coming to my class for quite some time will ease that process for some of the new people, I feel, which is fantastic. And connection with others, I love it when people tell me this is close to my heart above all else, is that I want to create a safe environment for people to feel unjudged, and they can feel, they can express themselves. And that's it's not always very easy to do that in life. And if we're in a facility, and we are on the beach with people, and we're in a public environment, and people feel safe there to let go and dance, and that's when I know that it's starting to work for them. And yes, we have the silent disco headphones, so it's quite immersiveness. The immersiveness of the music can make you feel a little bit more into yourself, which is great. It helps with the process, and then people can express more.
I can imagine as well doing it outside in nature, and especially on the beach. I mean, that's like Well, I just know that for me, the beach has healing properties anyway. Just
Yeah.
being on the sand and hearing the waves, or just at
Mm.
least having that view. And then on top of that, having people, yeah, you're looking at each other, you're vibing off of each other. And I think that's the other thing that you see, then people will dance with each other and then they'll dance off.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
it's a whole co-creative environment.
And I ease that out of people because we're
Yeah.
British, aren't we? So we're shy about that. You know, we're in a,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
in
we're
a,
not
in a room
Latin.
full of people, and you're like, you actually make eye contact with somebody. Oh my God, really? I have to actually look at someone in the eye.
Yeah.
Yes, you do, and you're not going to do that. You're going to dance with them.
Yeah.
And so we do. I do it in a way that's hopefully comfortable, and
Yeah.
it eases people into that. And if they don't want to do it, that's fine too. You know,
Yeah.
but when that comes, it's magical. But yeah, being outdoors, oh my goodness, I never want to take that for granted. Being on the beach, just the textures, the noises, the air, the waves. It's fantastic. So I'm doing summer classes all summer long. I'm doing
I'm gonna have to
blues on
join
the
you
beach.
because you're not far away from me. So I'd
No,
love
you need
that.
to come
Yeah.
tomorrow night. Funky Friday, 7 o'clock. Time out long sounds.
Nice. Nice plug as
Yeah.
well. I like it. I like it. Yeah, we've had a couple of comments from some of your lovely people. Susan Young, Groove with
Hi,
Mel. It's
Susan.
so addictive and enjoyable. You get a different personal experience in every session as it's different every time. It's so enjoyable. And then we've got jewelry by, is it Elsa?
Elsa,
Raffin?
hi.
Yeah. So she totally agrees and says, don't we just have the most amazing time? So yeah, that's
Oh,
definitely backing up what you're talking about there for sure.
fabulous.
I love it. I love it. So for anyone who's listening who kind of goes, oh my God, I can't think of anything like more scary, but maybe they're curious to kind of go, oh,
Yeah.
actually, I do feel a bit stiff and locked up and that kind of thing.
Mm.
What would you say to those people that are maybe feeling a bit apprehensive?
Well, if this is of any interest to them, that's we've already made some progress. So if somebody's going, this sounds
Intriguing.
interesting, but I don't know that, then just get in touch with me. That's all I say. I think um, it's a beautiful, friendly group I have. Everyone's welcoming. Everybody's been there as well, because
Mm,
everyone started off with me who'd never done groove before. So I
mm,
started with just a handful of people,
mhm,
and it's just grown to this gorgeous community of people that come. And so they all understand what it's like to walk into a room and do something that's quite strange. And yes, I say this every time there's somebody new in the class.
mm,
This is not like a dance class you'll have done before,
mm,
because I'm giving you permission to
mhm,
express yourself. And some
mhm.
people, I don't know how to do that. Just move how the music makes you feel. And if it's just small movements,
Yeah.
fantastic. And then we work from that point. So
Mm,
just
mm,
come and have some fun with the music. As Susan just said, it's different every week. So different songs every week, different genres of music. We explore different rhythm patterns,
mhm.
and yeah, come and have some fun with the music and go from there.
Yeah, because I think that is how we break free of that control. I mean, similarly, since I started salsa dancing, I can track my progression, and I think not only that, but I then see brand new people come in, and you can see in their body language, they're like, oh my, it's like rabbit in the headlights, and it's what's really lovely is to kind of go, it's totally fine,
Yeah.
it's totally fine. And you can almost like see their shoulders drop and they're like, oh, okay. Because I think with a lot of this stuff, and this is why specifically I love dance for this, um, we need to consistently get out of our comfort zone because everything changes in our lives. And I think we get so addicted to comfort and
Mm-hmm.
convenience that we're actually less likely to be so adaptable to change because we can get into these fixed modes of thinking, fixed modes of being, like I do that and I don't do that. The magic of life is about stepping outside of that comfort zone and proving to yourself that, you know what, I can do that. And it is, and often the magic happens on the other side of this
Absolutely.
terrified kind of narrative, because it's all story, isn't it? We're great storytellers.
Oh, yes.
We all are.
Absolutely, yes. Nobody cares what you look like dancing, and if
No,
they do, that's their
it's
problem,
on
not
them.
yours. But
No, exactly.
we're absorbing that,
Yeah.
we're believing that, and so it's my job, I feel, as a facilitator, to just help people understand that that's not true,
Yeah.
and just enjoy your body. Just enjoy being in your body, and the community that we have of people, and so yes.
I think that's the other thing that I'll just kind of end on there, Mel, as well, because I've mentioned before all of the conversations I've had this week. There's some beautiful themes. I'm going to kind of watch them back and just hopefully do a bit of a roundup, because I think one of the themes is that actually movement is a privilege. There's a lot of people that can't move, and
Absolutely.
if you ever lose that ability to move, you'll know about it. And you wish that you used it. It's like, you use it or you lose it. And I think we hugely, we sit in a certain way, we walk in a certain way, and I think there is such a lot to be said for actually being able to kind of go hard or go flow, or do all of those different expressive things, because that's what it is to be human. I've joked before with people that I want to live the depth and breadth of life. I don't want to just be in this grey zone. I felt like for a lot of my years, I was living in this should place of, no, you fit in this box, you follow this thing, you want to should. And I think that's what dance offers us, that we can literally break free of that.
Absolutely. And it's everyone can dance. People say, oh, I can't dance. Everyone can dance.
Yeah.
It's about exploring what our bodies can do. And like you say, the movement is an absolute privilege. And these meat suits that we're in, what can they do? What shapes can you create? And then how can you just move and flow from those? And before you know it, you're dancing and feeling joyful. That's breaking it down to that.
Well, if we haven't sold it to people by now, Mel, I just don't know what else we can say.
I know. Just come and give it a try.
Exactly. I think it's that's the key, I think, to anything in life, isn't it? It's just remove the story. I often say that, and like, I kind of say that about sea swimming. I get a lot of people going, "You do what? Are you crazy?" I mean, it's not for everybody, but I just think, well, until you've tried it, then comment, but don't pass judgment when you haven't tried something, because
absolutely,
it is about, that's what these experiential bit of kit that we've got, that's what it's here for, to see what it can do. And I think there's huge liberation in that. So I absolutely love that you're doing this, Mel, and certainly, obviously, when I met you in person and danced with you, because we did an ecstatic dance together, and just the conversation we've had tonight, you just radiate some beautiful, nurturing, compassionate energy, and you can see that this lights you up. And so I'm sure then that kind of creates that beautiful, safe environment for everybody. So it's amazing.
You, Christine. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah. No, well, you do. You absolutely do, because your energy introduces you before you speak, right? It is your facial expression, like, it's non-verbal, which is again why we need to get in our bodies and just stopping these rigid things, because we're not that. We're so much more than that. So
I just love it when people just be you. So I say to people, just be you.
Exactly.
Be you.
Whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter. Playfulness. We're just returning back to being children. I think that's what I always think.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Mel, for coming on and sharing your passion. We'll make sure that we've kind of put some links in there. And if anyone does want to reach out to Mel, then obviously do. And especially if you're local to North Shields, or if you're interested in maybe becoming a facilitator, then Mel will sort you out.
I will sort you out. Yes.
Well, I will be along to one of your classes.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please do.
I'd love that. Yeah, absolutely, especially with the lighter weather. In fact, after this, I am going for a walk on the beach. That is what I'm going to do.
Nice. Nice. Have a little shimmy.
I'll have a little shimmy. Yeah, I tend to do that anyway, to be fair. But yes, thank you so much for sharing, Mel. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and thank you everybody for commenting, for popping on. If you enjoyed this conversation and you would like to share it with some other people, then do that. All of these conversations are on my YouTube channel, AuthenticActionCoaching.com, so you can play back those, and there's some little short versions as well, so people can get snippets. But I'm really hoping that people have, you know, got some inspiration from all of the different conversations we've had, and hopefully just think about moving more. That's what we want. So thanks again.
Thanks,
Have
Christina.
a lovely night. I'm going to end the stream